What happens when a warrior who only believes in power is forced to fight beside those who believe in saving everyone? The sky tears open again. But this time, it's not Bardock's arrival. It's something hunting him. Deep underground, the lab smelled like industrial bleach, burnt ozone, and amniotic fluid. Dr. Garaki's hands were shaking so violently, he could barely strike the keys. The harsh blue glare of the monitors caught the cold sweat beating on his forehead. On the primary display, the alien Bardock. The footage was heavily fragmented, salvaged from a dozen pulverized traffic cameras, but the biological telemetry was horrifyingly clear. Garaki was watching the impossible in real time. After every brutal, bloody exchange, the alien's muscle fibers were micro-tearing and knitting back together exponentially denser. His energy output wasn't just recovering, it was violently compounding. He isn't just surviving. Garaki wheezed, his lungs tight with panic. His biology is weaponizing the damage. He's adapting. Then we do what we always do, Doctor. The voice didn't just emerge from the shadows. It seemed to consume the oxygen in the room. All for one stepped into the sterile light. The ambient air pressure in the lab instantly skyrocketed. Garaki's ears popped, the steady beep of the life support monitors stuttered. This creature grows from trauma, All for One said. His tone was perfectly flat, devoid of the blind panic infecting his scientist. Every impact teaches its cells how to kill more efficiently, so we will not build a wall to stop him. We will build a mirror. Garaki swallowed dryly. He turned slowly toward the massive, reinforced glass cylinder dominating the center of the room. The fluid inside was thick and pitch black. Something massive was violently convulsing inside of it. It wasn't sleeping. It was actively drowning, its body frantically mutating new biological filters every few seconds just to survive the toxic fluid. The sickening, wet crunch of its own bones snapping and restructuring echoed through the thick glass. Reactive evolution. Garaki read from his datapad, his voice trembling. We layered hyper-regeneration over a kinetic absorption quirk, tied directly to the central nervous system. Muscle density and neural pathways permanently upgrade upon taking physical damage. He looked up at the towering shadow of his master. The harder the alien hits it, the faster it becomes the exact weapon required to butcher him. All for One finished. Inside the black fluid, a single, lidless, milky white eye snapped open. It didn't look around. It just stared straight through the glass, waiting for violence. How long until the neural pathways stabilize for deployment? All for One asked. 72 hours, Master. You have 24. All for One turned and walked back into the dark. The hunt was already over. Bardock was going to do exactly what he always did. He was going to punch a hole in the threat. He just had absolutely no idea that this time, the threat was designed to swallow his fist and bite off his arm. Tanks bubbled in the corner. Inside, things moved, shapes too large to be human, too wrong to be natural. One eye snapped open, then another. The creatures inside weren't sleeping. They were waiting. How long until deployment? All for One asked. 72 hours. Make it 24. Alarms would soon scream across the city. Heroes would scramble. Bardock would answer the call like always. But this time, he'd face something that mirrored his greatest strength. Something built to outlast him, outgrow him, outlive him. The hunt had begun, and the prey had no idea what was coming. When this adaptive Nomu finally drops into the streets and faces Bardock, what is the very first thing it adapts to? Does Bardock accidentally make it unstoppable in the first 3 seconds by hitting it with a massive ki blast? Or does the Nomu start mutating just from the suffocating gravitational pressure of Bardock's aura before a punch is even thrown? The explosion leveled 3 city blocks before the shockwave even reached the sirens. Bardock didn't land, he cratered. His boots shattered the pavement, driving jagged chunks of asphalt into the air. Smoke violently hissed off his battered armor, mixing with the suffocating stink of pulverized concrete and burning ozone. He didn't shout into the smoke. Shouting was for amateurs and victims. He simply dropped his center of gravity, coiled his tail tight against his waist, and waited. Through the choking gray ash, 3 silhouettes dragged themselves into the failing amber light. They didn't walk, they lurched. They were massive, asymmetrical slabs of vat-grown muscle. their exposed, oversized brains weeping a clear, viscous fluid down their faces. Their dead, milky eyes locked onto the Saiyan. Bardock didn't grin. He just went to work. He broke the sound barrier, crossing the street in a fraction of a heartbeat. His right fist buried itself deep into the center of the first creature's jaw. The kinetic shockwave from the impact blew out every glass window for 100 yards. The beast's skull caved in with a sickening wet crack, and its massive body violently launched backward, shearing entirely through a steel support pillar. The second creature didn't even blink. It lunged directly over its pulverized partner. Bardock pivoted smoothly, driving a brutal downward elbow straight into the creature's exposed cervical spine. The heavy vertebrae snapped under his bone like dry kindling. He didn't pause to watch it drop. He spun, his left palm already sparking. A point-blank key blast detonated directly into the third monster's chest. The golden flash blinded the street, incinerating dark meat and reinforced bone in a localized wave of screaming thermal energy. 3 targets, 3 lethal strikes, total battlefield control, until the math broke. Bardock heard it before he saw it. A wet, horrifying, tearing sound coming from the rubble behind him. He glanced back. The first creature, the one missing half its skull, was already on its feet. The pulverized bone wasn't just regenerating. It was aggressively thickening, knitting together into heavy, jagged biological armor plating in real time. It didn't roar, it just lunged, and it was terrifyingly faster. Bardock barely slipped the strike. Thick, hardened claws sheared straight through his shoulder pad, biting deep into his flesh and drawing hot blood. The pain flared sharp, deep, and completely wrong. His survival instinct kicked in. He retaliated instantly, driving a massive, chest-caving palm strike dead into the creature's sternum. A strike that would have ruptured the organs of a great ape. The creature absorbed the blow. It didn't even stumble. The kinetic energy simply rippled through its newly dense chest cavity, dispersing harmlessly into its hyper-evolved muscle fibers. The beast slowly rolled its massive shoulders. The flesh beneath its skin writhed, actively memorizing the exact weight, angle, and velocity of Bardock's attack. Bardock's breathing stopped. The cold, sickening realization hit him harder than the claws had. He hadn't just failed to kill it, he had just taught it how to kill him. Then something shifted. The first Nomu rose. Its jaw rebuilt itself. Muscle fibers stitched together like living thread. What the? It charged. Faster than before, Bardock barely dodged. Claws raked across his shoulder, drawing blood. He retaliated instantly. Palm strike to the chest. The creature stumbled but didn't fall. Instead, it adjusted its stance. No way. The second Nomu circled left. The third went right, coordinated, deliberate. They weren't just healing, they were learning. Bardock threw a spinning kick. The lead Nomu blocked it. Perfectly. Like it had seen the move 100 times. Impossible. Bardock hissed. A fist slammed into his ribs. He gasped, skidding backward. Another strike came from behind. Then another. Patterns he'd used for years. Countered. Techniques owned through countless battles. Predicted. His speed meant nothing if they knew where he'd appear. His power didn't matter if they adapted to absorb it. For the first time since arriving in this world, Bardock felt hunted. "They're reading me?" he muttered, wiping blood from his lip. Every move, every choice. The Nomu closed in, eyes locked on their prey. No rage, no hesitation. Just cold, calculated evolution. Bardock's fists tightened. Energy flared around his body. "Fine, you want to learn?" Golden light erupted skyward. "Then let's see how fast you can keep up." But deep down, a question gnawed at him. What happens when the enemy evolves faster than you can fight? Bardock's vision blurred. Blood dripped from his knuckles. His breathing came in ragged gasps. One Nomu grabbed his arm. Another slammed into his spine. He twisted free, fired a blast that scorched nothing but air. Damn it. Then he heard it. Footsteps, dozens of them. D! An explosion ripped through the nearest Nomu's face. Bakugo descended like a meteor, palms crackling with fury. "Move, old man!" he screamed.
"We've got this."
Ice erupted across the battlefield. Massive walls rose, separating the creatures. Todoroki slid forward, frost trailing behind each step. "Contain them," he shouted.
Don't let them regroup.
Midoriya landed beside Bardock. Green lightning danced across his body. "You okay?" he asked, eyes locked on the enemy. Bardock stared. "What are you doing here? Helping. You'll die." Midoriya smiled, sad, determined. "Maybe, but we can't just watch." More students poured into the chaos. Kirishima hardened his skin. Tanking blows meant to kill. Uraraka made rubble weightless, hurling chunks like missiles. Kaminari unleashed lightning. Jiro sent shockwaves rippling through the ground. Every single one of them knew the truth. This fight wasn't theirs to win, yet they stayed. A Nomu broke through Todoroki's ice. Bakugo intercepted it mid-charge, blasting its chest open. It healed in seconds. "Are you kidding me?" Bakugo snarled. The creature backhanded him, his body smashed through a wall. "Caution!" Midoriya screamed. He launched forward, fist glowing. Delaware smash connected with the Nomu's skull. Bone cracked. The beast staggered, then adapted, its arm morphed, muscles doubling in size. A single swipe sent Midoriya sprawling. Bardock caught him before he hit the ground. "Kid, listen, I know," Midoriya coughed. "I know we can't beat them." "Then why?" Green eyes met his, unwavering. "Because running means people die, and we're heroes." Something twisted in Bardock's chest. These weren't warriors, they weren't bred for battle or born with godlike strength. They were children, fragile, breakable, human. And yet, Kirishima charged again. Todoroki froze another limb. Bakugo rose from the rubble, screaming defiance. None of them stopped. "Why?" Bardock whispered. A Nomu lunged toward Uraraka. She couldn't dodge in time. Instinct took over. Bardock blurred forward. His fist pierced the creature's torso, ripping it away from her. She stumbled backward, gasping.
"Thank you. Don't thank me."
His voice came out harsher than intended. "Just stay behind me." Midoriya stood again, battered, bleeding, smiling. "We fight together," he said. Bardock looked around, at kids who shouldn't be here, who had no chance of winning, who came anyway. Something ancient stirred inside him, something he'd buried long ago. Not rage, not pride, purpose. "Fine," Bardock growled. Energy exploded around his frame. "Then don't slow me down." Golden light consumed the battlefield. For the first time since this nightmare began, he wasn't fighting alone. Bardock's chest heaved around him, chaos raged. Screams, explosions, blood. But something felt different. Kirishima dove in front of Mina, taking a blow meant for her. His arm shattered on impact. He didn't retreat, just grinned through the pain. "Go," he yelled. "I've got this." Todoroki collapsed to one knee, exhausted. A Nomu loomed over him. Bakugo appeared from nowhere, blast after blast, buying seconds he didn't have. Move, icy hot, now. No glory in it, no victory waiting, just sacrifice. Bardock's fists trembled. Why? They gained nothing from this. No territory conquered, no enemies enslaved. Most would die here, they knew it. So why stay? His vision flickered. Suddenly he wasn't standing on pavement anymore. Desert wind howled. Saiyan armor gleamed under twin suns. His squad surrounded him. Fasha, Tora, Borgos, Shugesh, warriors, killers, loyal only to strength. "Crush them, Bardock." Tora laughed, fist dripping with alien blood. No one protected anyone. Survival belonged to the ruthless. That was the Saiyan way. But then, another flash, smaller, quieter. A pod, a baby inside. Kakarot, his son, sent away, weak. Worthless by Saiyan standards. Bardock had felt nothing, just duty, protocol now. The image shifted, a boy, spiky hair, bright eyes, smiling, not conquering, not destroying, protecting. Fragments swirled, incomplete, blurry, a figure in orange, hands raised, shielding strangers, laughing, fighting, falling, rising again. "Kakarot," Bardock whispered. The vision shattered. He stood in the present. Smoke curling around broken streets. Midoriya staggered forward, one arm useless, legs barely holding him. A Nomu charged. The kid didn't run. He smiled. "Everyone get back." Green lightning erupted, skin tore, bones cracked. He threw everything into one final punch. The Nomu flew backward. Midoriya collapsed. Bardock caught him before he hit the ground. "You idiot," he muttered. "You're gonna get yourself killed." Midoriya looked up, blood on his lips, eyes still blazing. Maybe, but that's what heroes do. Bardock's grip tightened. For the first time in his life, he understood. Strength wasn't just power. It was standing when running made more sense, just like Kakarot. "Damn, kid," Bardock whispered. Golden energy flared brighter than ever before. "All right then." He rose, students behind him. Nomu ahead. "Let's finish this." A Nomu's claws descended toward Jiro. She couldn't move. Frozen, eyes wide, Bardock appeared between them. His hand caught the creature's wrist, stopped it cold. "Not her," he growled. The Nomu shrieked. Bardock twisted, hurled it across the street. Jiro gasped, "You saved me!" He didn't look back. "Don't get in my way." A pause. "But don't die either." Bakugo landed beside him, panting, bloodied. "Took you long enough, old man." Todoroki stepped forward, ice forming along his right side. "Together," he asked. Bardock's jaw tightened. Every instinct screamed against it. Saiyans fought alone, relied on no one but these kids. They kept standing, kept bleeding, kept choosing this. "Fine," Bardock muttered. "Stay close." The Nomu charged as one, adaptive, evolving, relentless. Bardock's vision sharpened. Around him, heroes fighting beyond their limits. Ahead, enemies designed to crush him. Within, something shifting. Time seemed to slow. He'd spent his whole life chasing power, measuring worth in bodies, victory in destruction. But these students, they had nothing to gain. No pride, no spoils, just duty. Kakarot fought like this. The thought hit harder than any punch. His son hadn't conquered worlds. He'd protected them, not domination. Purpose. Bardock's fists ignited. Energy coiled around his frame. But this time, different. Not wild, not reckless. Controlled, surgical, intentional. "Strength," he whispered. Golden light erupted skyward. Brighter, hotter. The ground cracked beneath his feet. "Isn't just domination." His aura condensed, tightened. Every ounce of power focused into a single point. The Nomu hesitated, sensing danger. Too late. Bardock raised one hand. Energy gathered in his palm. Precise, devastating. "It's knowing why you fight." He thrust forward. A beam of pure ki split the sky. Not an explosion, a statement. It carved through the first Nomu. Then, the second. The third. Cellular regeneration meant nothing. Adaptation couldn't counter annihilation. The blast consumed them completely. When the light faded, silence, Bardock stood alone, smoke curling from his hand. Behind him, students stared, awe-struck. He glanced back. "That's how you end a fight." But his eyes said something else. "Thank you for showing him what he'd forgotten." Silence blanketed the battlefield. Smoke cleared. Rubble settled. Bardock lowered his hand, breathing steady. "Is it over?" Midoriya whispered. Then movement. From the crater, something stirred. A single Nomu crawled forward. Broken, burnt, changing. Its flesh rippled, bones snapped and reformed. Muscles doubled in size, eyes glowed brighter than before. "No way," Bakugo staggered back. "It's still." The creature stood, taller now, faster, stronger. It had absorbed everything, every attack, every strategy, evolution complete. Bardock stepped forward, energy flaring. But before he could move, the Nomu vanished, gone, like it was never there. "What the hell?" Kirishima shouted. Far above, on a distant rooftop, All for One stood in shadow, wind tugging at his suit. The Nomu knelt beside him. Obedient, perfected. He smiled. "Interesting." His voice cut through the night. "Even monsters can change." He turned away, fingers steepled. "But so can I." Darkness swallowed him whole. In the distance, sirens wailed. Bardock stared at the empty sky, fists still clenched. "This isn't over."